Hello! How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the stream. We got a few people in here today. Welcome, chatters. Welcome, anybody who has subscribed to me in the past few days. Like, oh my god. It's been a busy time in the life of Resi Orenji, let me tell you. Like, I had that glam video premiere, like, on Wednesday, and we've gotten like almost fucking 10,000 views on it already. Like, that is insane. You guys are nuts. Thank you so much for all the love and support on that. Hopefully it'll be carried even further. But I'm not getting my hopes up. I've been on YouTube long enough to know that success waves, they come and they go. But I'm gonna work through it regardless. Gonna be on to the next project. I already actually started editing the King Gizzard concert review that I'm planning on doing next. So I started that a few hours ago, actually an hour before I was on stream. I was doing a bit of editing for that. So look forward to that real soon. I'm really hoping to get that done before November rolls around. King Gizzard are going to be resuming their tour around then. So I want to make this a sort of timely thing, I guess. Drive eyes towards not just my channel. I mean, obviously that's the goal, but drive some eyes on King Gizzard as they continue doing their awesome stuff that they do. But yeah, no, that's been going on, and I recently made the more of a commitment to move and post on Blue Sky, so I've been making a lot of connections there and trying to trying to establish myself there away from the shit heap that is the ever-growing shit heap that is Twitter. So if y'all want to follow me there, I'm resiorenji.bsky.com. I think that's my @ on there so far. But yeah, no, if any of you guys are using Blue Sky as well, I'd love to see you on there. Love to hang, love to chatter. But anyways, welcome back to the Music Talk stream, where I like to sort of sit down and after the end of a long week and just sort of shoot the breeze with a fellow, music-loving VTuber. I've been doing this series a long time now. I've tried to keep it a consistent thing on my channel. Hasn't exactly, gone... hasn't exactly stayed consistent, as I've had to, pull aside and do work on projects and, schedulings have fallen through. But regardless, whenever I am glad to sit down, whenever I sit down with a VTuber on the show, it's always a very fun, interesting conversation, like picking apart somebody's interests in music, their tastes, their the perspective they come from for it. And, what was it? All of this is to say, I should say, sorry, losing my train of thought here. All of this is to say, I'm glad to be back to doing this after sort of being away for a few weeks, and hopefully that now that I'm doing sort of shorter content for the rest of the year, these talk streams will be a bit more consistent. Anyways, I'm dilly-dallying too long. Our guest for today, she's a VTuber that has adopted this draconic bartender sort of aesthetic. She does a lot of karaoke streams, I've noticed. I've been looking at her channels, and I actually caught one of them on Twitch the other night. She does a lot of karaoke, and she posts a lot of her VODs on her channel. Really, really talented singer. So, I, as somebody who, sort of has had a bit of singing experience in the past, I'm really excited to see, where we connect today. So, would y'all please welcome Kip Cintamani? Wait, hold on a second. Would y'all welcome Kip Cintamani, please? Sorry, I don't know why my deafen button wasn't working so well there.
Sometimes it be like that. Hi guys, I'm Kip.
How's it going, y'all? How's it going? Glam Sleeves is my fave. Oh, Resi. Had to watch Decline of Western Civilization Part 2 after watching the Glam video. Love that doc. Paul Stanley laying with 5 babes is the ultimate cringe. I cannot wait to rip into that documentary in the next part. Rest assured, Matt, you're going to get you're going to get quite the breakdown of that, I hope. But anyways, hello Kip, welcome to the Music Talk stream. I'm glad to have you. I believe I was recommended to reach out to you by one of my previous guests, Shino Hai. Really, who's a cool musician, is over a really cool singer.
Good friend.
And so I guess we could start there. I mean, it was you two who sort of what was it? Yeah, so since he recommended you, I guess we could start with. You know what? No, never mind. The way I usually tend to start these streams, you know, I like to ask my guests, because music-related VTubers, it's one thing to be a VTuber and to be a variety streamer and all that stuff. That's all well and good, but it takes a certain type of VTuber to be very sort of dedicated to making music as well on the side. And so, I guess I'm kind of interested to know off the bat, like, what sparked sort of your passion for music? Like, what shaped your tastes? What inspired you to do what you do now?
Oh gosh. Okay, so where do we start? When I was a young dragonling, so my dad's a really big fan of music, I guess I was. He's an audiophile. He's got like the huge surround sound set up with he's got a record player and all that stuff. I'm not really too sure of the details, but he's always loved music. He plays the guitar, he sings, he has his own karaoke set up at home. So that's the kind of environment I was raised in as a little baby dragon.
Right on.
And of course, I did the standard piano lessons and stuff as a kid. Didn't really get into it. So what sparked really my love for singing was sometime around, I guess, middle school. One of my friends introduced me to but what it was they DM'd me a YouTube video and they were like, hey, check this out. And I watched it, and it was the most beautiful music, like hand-drawn, hand-animated music video about a robot that like develops emotions and then dies. But it was a Vocaloid song.
Oh,
and
yeah.
So that was basically my entryway into like vocal synthesizers and how wide of a variety of things can come out of that community. People who may not necessarily have the ability to sing themselves can get this program to sing for them. They can write whatever they want, things that would be impossible for humans to sing.
Absolutely.
Really weird experimental shit. And so from there, kind of fell into Vocaloid cover fandom. So like Utaites.
Yeah.
When I was younger, it was always my dream to post covers, like the big name Utaites.
Oh, right on, yeah.
I never really got a chance to. But then, I don't know, maybe 10, 15 years later, my friend goes, hey, you want to be a VTuber with me? Because she was getting into it as well. Why not, I guess? But it became basically the opportunity for me to be where I am now.
Yeah. Right on. I've spoken with quite a few VTubers on this stream who themselves have been really influenced by Vocaloid. I never myself was that big into that scene, but I really do respect the idea, the whole thing that you have this synthesizer that can be shaped around various people's voices, and you can use that to then, I guess, experiment with voices on certain song structures, certain genres. That's always fascinated me, and I mean, I don't claim to be that smart a music producer myself, but if I had the skills, I would definitely love to work with a Vocaloid sort of program like that. Put together this. I remember, what was it? Actually. I had a teacher back in, I think it was like high school it was like my choral teacher, and we were doing this one song in like chamber choir, I think it was, and he sent us this link to sort of, I guess, listen along to it, and it was like these Vocaloids sort of covering the 4-part harmony of the song. It was it's very cute.
That's crazy that your teacher is like aware of that kind of stuff at the time.
Oh yeah, no, he was kind of a nerd. I remember he was super into like Legend of Zelda too. So
okay, he's hip. He's
good
with
guy.
it.
Yeah. No, the Vocaloid's really interesting. I just I know there's like just this massive culture that I'm afraid to approach, you know.
Oh yeah.
all these producers with these big names that you know, I listen to. I look at it, it just looks like a random like online username, and I'm like, okay, cool. that name means nothing to me.
Oh yeah.
Was the blue opera singer lady in The Fifth Element really singing? So I'll be honest, Matt, I don't know anything about The Fifth Element. I've never watched it and never seen it. Have you, Kip?
Yeah, or I haven't. I don't think I've watched the whole movie head to tail, but I do remember the blue alien lady.
Oh yeah.
She had some like, you know, crazy whistle notes and stuff. I think she's actually, I don't know if it's the actual actress, but someone human is singing that.
Oh my god, yeah. People like, what's the term for like a really cracked soprano? Is that coloratura? Is that what they call them?
You know, I'm not sure.
I know there's like a specific sort of, but like those sorts of sopranos who are really able to hit those whistle tones and go really crazy high, I always respect that sort of stuff.
No, it's like kind of crazy what the human voice is capable of. Because like every day we talk, you and I, just, you know, normally, and then people can push it that far.
Yeah. You know, that actually kind of, I guess, segs well into another question I've written down here. How long have you been singing? Like, is like a formal thing for you? Do you take lessons?
Okay, so I've never taken any formal lessons beyond those, you know, piano lessons when I was a kiddo.
Right.
Everything is, I guess, I would consider it self-taught. In imitation of, you know, Vocaloid songs that I wanted that I liked and I wanted to sing along to, so I would sing along, and somehow I guess I picked up some stuff along the way, and so that's got to be, how old am I now? Probably like 15-ish years of on and off just self practice.
That's see, what was it? I've kind of had an interesting relation with my voice in that regard. Like, I remember starting off, like, I did a lot of singing in, like, you know, elementary school, middle school, high school choir. You know, of course, what was it? When I was exposed to, like, rock music super early on, you know, singers like fucking Bon Scott, Robert Plant, you know, the super high, you know, shrieky sort of vocalists. I tried to imitate that myself. I mean, not in public, thank God. There's nobody that, or at least I hope I didn't embarrass myself singing like that. But that's to say, I remember I was a pretty decent tenor, you know, well through college, which is when I decided to start taking vocal lessons, and that was fun for about a semester, but, you know, eventually I got to the point where I had to sort of choose between, like, committing myself to being a singer versus committing myself to doing drums in college, and, you know, I chose the drums instead.
It's tough when you have like a couple different talents you could be working on at once, because it's always going to be whatever you put the most energy in is where you see the most growth.
Absolutely, yeah. Like, you say you could have learned piano at one point. Like, I feel like piano would be an ideal instrument for me to pick up, because one, you know, you learn that you basically have a mental understanding of music theory, or at least Western music theory, but also, you know, piano is technically a percussion instrument.
Yeah,
Like,
hammers and strings.
yeah, like, and for me, you know, I like to consider myself like this sort of well-versed, well-rounded percussionist, able to pick up a percussion instrument and make noise with it pretty well. So for that to exist, for pianos to exist and, you know, be percussion instruments, I feel like I'm always sort of, I guess, lacking in that department if I don't try to pick up the piano.
I feel like as long as you can do different things with each hand, which I know you can if you're a drummer by trade, you're gonna be so good at it. You're gonna be so good at piano. It doesn't take much beyond that.
And yeah, that's the thing, right? Like I'm sure like the hand-eye coordination translates over to some extent. It's like the thing is though, instead of like training all like sort of both my arms, I'd have to train all my fingers then.
Oh, that's true. I guess I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, being a drummer, you also have to worry about some sort of fixed finger dexterity there too. Like, but it's not nearly as intense or as stretchy as it might be with piano.
Yeah, and less individual finger focus. I guess that makes sense.
Did you ever do like music theater in high school or anything like that? Like any
I did not dabble into, what was I doing in high school? I was in anime club, and that's pretty much it in terms of extracurriculars, so
That's respectable.
no
I get it.
theater.
My school,
It makes
I don't
sense.
know if we really had. I think we did have an anime club, but it was like I don't know. It was sort of weird how we did our electives and clubs back then. You know, got hands, I'm afraid. And yes, apparently the coloratura soprano is the highest. I just
Oh,
remember in particular, like, what was it? There's this one role in like a Mozart opera. I think it was like the Queen of the Night or whatever in Magic Flute, something like that. Her part is like, or God, I
that
butchered it just now, but you know what I
I
mean.
think
It's the one
I
that's
think
the super,
yeah, I've heard that. I've heard that
the
riff.
super intensive.
Yeah.
Oh God. Yeah, I could never. I look at friends of mine. There was this one friend of mine I had in high school who's gone on to become this sort of operatic level soprano, and huge
That's so
respects.
cool.
Yeah, huge respects to her. I could never do something like that. But what else? I guess sort of pivoting back to the piano talk. Is there any like other instrument that you would like to try to learn, like if you had the free time for it?
Oh yeah, I've actually always wanted to learn how to play the guitar,
Oh,
but
nice.
I think I think an adult-sized guitar is a little too big for me. I got little hands, man. I got these itty-bitty little paws.
Yeah.
But the other thing is, when I briefly dabbled in it, I couldn't seem to make the sheet music notation like translate itself to the fingering. Like I couldn't figure out like, okay, so I know this is a C, like a middle C,
Yeah.
but I don't know how to make that sound with my hands.
Yeah,
So
no,
it was rough.
it's hard sort of reading guitar music. I mean, on the one hand, like reading sheet music with guitar, it's not exactly one-to-one since the fretboard versus the way it looks on a staff, it's radically different. But on the other
Oh
hand,
yeah.
if you're just learning tabs, like then you don't really have the musical know-how to know that like what you're the fret you're pressing down makes that note a
Yeah, like
C or
what am I
whatever. It's
doing exactly? I know it's the sound I want, but I don't know what I'm doing exactly.
yeah.
That way, I do think piano spoiled me a little bit because it's very like one-to-one. You press the button, you get that, like you get the C that you wanted, and
Yeah.
it's one and done, you know.
Yeah, tablature. A lot of people use tablature instead of notation. Yeah, I think that's my experience too. Essentially, I've tried learning guitar at least like 3 different times at this point, and none of I don't know. the whole commitment of having to sit down and like learn scales and like really get a deeper understanding of that instrument that way, like I don't know. I'm more of a person that likes to focus on rhythm than rhythm and like melody at the same time.
Makes sense.
So like I don't know. When I'm in front of like a drum kit or a percussive instrument, all I have to really worry about there is like hand-eye coordination basically, and and keeping on the beat.
Yeah, I'm a melody guy personally, but it's tough, man.
It very is. I took guitar ensemble and jazz band in school, and I get confused from sheet music. It's kind of cool when you figure it out, though. Oh yeah, for sure. Like I remember, it's a good mood, like when you're able to like sight read music, like on a sheet. Like I there's this one experience, one experience. It's an experience that I got, when I was involved in choirs, like back in high school, back like in my early college years. Like, you get to a point singing where you're able to sort of intuit, like, interval leaps and octaves, in sheet music. Whether that's like expressly knowing the music theory itself or just like having an intuition, being able to do that sort of thing. It's like it's definitely a learned experience, but
a little bit of pattern recognition, maybe.
Yeah. But it can very easily be dropped. I haven't laid eyes on a sheet of vocal music in ages. I'm sure if you put one in front of me, I would be stumbling around in the dark. I feel I was able to learn guitar easily because I was trying to learn how to play the music I was actively listening to. It was easier to grasp. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely valid too. Like learning with what you love. I remember that's actually how I started off on drums too. Just sort of playing along the songs on my iPad. Not iPad, iPod. Jeez, remember iPods? But how to say? I don't know. I feel like that sort of bounce is harder to strike with a guitar. It could just be that my experience learning drums and learning guitar are apples and oranges, though. So.
Yeah. I've definitely noticed that, though. It's way easier, or I guess you feel more motivated. I feel more motivated, at least, to learn if it's something, it's a song I like or something.
Yeah.
I could never get myself to sit down and just do scales for 30 minutes,
Absolutely. Well, see, the thing what I've been trying to do with drums, whenever I found the motivation to practice recently, is I like to sit down, dedicate like 10 minutes to sort of practicing drum rudiments. Essentially like paradiddles, strokes, rolls, all that fun stuff, the technical nitty gritty of drumming. Then for 10 minutes, I like to rehearse and practice like various beats and like sort of measured, accented, variations on, like swings, like bossa nova grooves. And then for another 10 minutes, like roughly, I like to play like one or two songs that I like, sort of try to tier out my practices in that way, so I'm getting a bit of each thing.
Makes sense. Yeah, then you get a little bit of the fun stuff, and you get a little bit of the, the boring practice stuff that you have to do.
Yeah, definitely. Thoughts on Emerson, Lake and Palmer, R.I.P. Keith Emerson and Greg Lake. I like Emerson, Lake and Palmer. Haven't really listened to a lot of their stuff beyond like Brain Salad Surgery, but it's certainly music up my alley. I love prog rock like that. Do you know much about Emerson, Lake and Palmer, Kip?
I do not.
They are a wild fucking band. Like when you get a chance, look up their album Tarkus. Like literally one side of it is devoted to like a 20-minute epic about an armadillo tank.
That's kind of sick. Okay, noted.
It is insane. I love it. Do you do all your paradiddle inversions while practicing your boss? Oh god, I need to get better at like inversions for feet as well. You know, whenever I try to practice, I'm usually doing stuff with my hands, but I really do need to improve with the feet. Oh my gosh. That's the hard thing about like being a drummer, is being able to work like everything. Like, I mean, obviously, like it's one skill to, you know, sort of coordinate with your arms, be, you know, working with the bounce in your wrists and all that stuff, but it's an entirely different thing to be trying to, I don't know, work with the balls of your feet to get like multiple kicks off and like one. It's a whole process. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
sorry for ranting.
No, I get it. It's a full body experience, and that's also not. It's like how I'm terrible at rhythm games that have more than like 2 buttons on them, because
oh my gosh,
more than I can process at once. So
yeah,
I really respect the percussionists.
Do you play a lot of rhythm games? Do you have any formative rhythm games in your life?
Let's see. I grew up playing DDR because that was kind of like, you know, what my cousins were doing in their rhythm and all that. And aside from that, the ones I like are, I guess they're not as popular, but Music Gun Gun, because it has a 1-button input, and I play Project Sekai because that's the Vocaloid rhythm game, and it's just tapping.
Yeah.
You know.
Definitely, yeah. I myself, you know, I also played sort of D&D back in, not D&D, DDR back in the day. I remember, you know, when arcades were a lot more popular, being able to go to them and like, you know, pop in a few quarters in the DDR machine and have a decent time, even though I didn't know shit about dancing otherwise.
Yeah.
And, well, really, my sort of rhythm games of choice were more the Guitar Hero and Rock Band games. Those were how I got like into rock music. As embarrassing as it is to say, it's like those games really did like expose me to a broad array of music that I otherwise wouldn't have, you know, been hip to.
Oh, yeah, it makes sense. There's just such a wide variety on both of them. I always got relegated to vocals when I was doing rock and family, so you know.
Makes sense. And what was it? I'm just like, I feel like there's something missing these days. You know, there's a hole in the video game market for fun, like party music games, you know. And I know Epic are trying to sort of squeeze the life out of harmonics for Fortnite Festival, and I appreciate that effort, but it just seems like such a ridiculous thing to have, you know, a music game alongside your Rocket League game, alongside your, you know, Battle Royale cover shooter. I don't get Fortnite, man.
It's Battle Royales are tough, dude. I'm not so good at FPSs to begin with, and something about Fortnite is just so hard. Before I know what's happening, I've been killed, so it's not like that.
I mean, I'd like to try it at some point. It's just I apparently it takes up a fucking arm and a leg on your PC, so
some juicy files.
Yeah. I'm old. I used to play PaRappa the Rapper on PS1. Ooh, that's a game that I'd like to try at some point. I'd like to go back and sort of, you know, try out. Is PaRappa? I don't think they're doing anything new with PaRappa, are they?
No, I don't think so. But it's so popular. They should.
Yeah. I mean, Sony, they're in the middle of like milking all of their old franchises. I'm surprised they haven't. I'm surprised they haven't brought back PaRappa yet.
Yeah, I think I remember someone saying Rhythm Heaven is like the spiritual successor to PaRappa the Rapper, but I don't know how
makes sense. I've never played a Rhythm Heaven game, but they always look fun. You know, it just looks like one of those
the little guys doing.
One of those timed press games.
Yeah,
I, I didn't mean that to come off as dismissive as it did.
No.
To be fair, the Rock Band and Guitar Hero games are also timed press games.
Well, that's the music at their core, I guess.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they did make a second PaRappa. I know that. I think they also did something with his friends, like Jammer Lammy. They did a rock game with her, but but otherwise, I think PaRappa really was like sort of the OG rhythm game, because after that was like where you sort of had games like Amplitude and Guitar Hero and Rock Band and all that pop up. I don't know. There was that. There was also. Remember one time I bought what was that? It's like SingStar or like one of those like old karaoke games where they just sold you like a USB mic and a disc folded with songs and were like, go nuts. I think I got like one of those games once. Never really played it. Or maybe I played it once and then I put the microphone away and never touched it again. Some say it's still buried somewhere in my my mom's house. Let's see. So, have you gone to very many concerts, like Idol or otherwise? You have any fun concert memories?
I had a brief period back in college where I went to several concerts. So
nice.
I've been to, of course, the Miku Expo twice now.
Oh, very nice.
Actual in-person concerts. It was streaming only for a long time.
Were you there when they did the TV?
Yeah.
Oh no.
They did the TV this past year. I mean, it was still pretty okay. It's not as bad as it looks, but it was not as good as it used to be either.
Yeah.
And then I think the other concerts, I had a brief. What's the genre called? Electro swing phase. So I went to a PaRappa Stellar concert, or not? Is it a concert? Concert at one point.
I would consider electronic music things
it's still
concerts.
Yeah.
It's just a performance where you dance.
Yeah. I am also dancing on top of that, of course. And probably my favorite story, or my favorite live performance, has been Wagaki Band. So, if you're not familiar, Wagaki Band it's like a rock and traditional Japanese fusion band. So,
interesting.
They do a lot of covers, reimagining, like rock or pop songs as what would it sound like if we did this with like traditional like Japanese flute and shamisen, but also rock guitar, rock drums kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So they are very fun live. They're very fun live. I think most recently they were touring with, what's her name? Oh my god, what is her name? The lead singer from Evanescence. Do you know her name off the top of your head?
Amy Lee?
Yes. So
that's interesting.
I went on tour with her at one point in the near past. So that was a fun time. I didn't see them with Amy Lee, unfortunately, but.
Best concert experience: Bon Jovi at Gillette Stadium. Ooh, that sounds like a really fun time. I've had I don't know, recently, I don't know, whenever I think of really fun concert experiences, my mind goes to, like, the concerts that I've been to for King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. I don't know if you've heard of them, but they...
Just from you, I think.
Huh?
Just from your tweets, I think. I haven't heard of them.
Oh, yeah. No, they are... Oh, my God. They are a fucking incredible band. The cool thing about King Gizzard is that they're so, like... I don't know, they like to play around in a lot of different genres, and they like to vary things up night to night with their set lists, so you really never know, like, what you're gonna get exactly when you go to a King Gizzard show. I remember, I've been to at least, like, 5 concerts of theirs, and between the 5 of them, I don't know how many songs they repeated, but it's definitely less than, your typical touring band these days. I really do love like a concert experience where a band is able to, switch things up, not just night to night, but like from the concert you went to see them before. Like one really cool. Oh, yeah, my favorite King Gizzard song is "Fishing for Fishies." Yeah, that's really good. Funny story about that actually kind of ties into my question. When I went to see King Gizzard this most recent time at a Forest Hills Stadium, they were they were in the middle of like tuning or whatever, and somebody asked them to play this one song, "Fishing for Fishies," that it's kind of like an acoustic folky sort of ballad thing that they've never gotten the chance to play live. It's, I don't know, very very rhythmically intricate. I get why they haven't played it live, but somebody in the crowd called to them, "Play Fishing for Fishies," and they're like, okay. They kind of just fumbled through like the first verse or whatever for like a minute or whatever, and it was just like one of those experiences where the fan base was all like, "Ha, they did it."
I respect that, man. Do it for the fans.
Can't wrap my head around those weird guitars. The microtones? I think the microtonal instruments are really really cool. What do you know about microtones, Kip? Do you know anything about
nothing? No.
That is perfectly fine. It's really interesting, like getting to like back in 2017, King Gizzard, they modified like a bunch of regular guitars that they had to basically play notes between the notes that we usually have in like our Western systems of tonality. Like essentially they were, how to say, like it was very sort of heavily Middle Eastern inspired, like Indian inspired music that they used those instruments to create, and it's a really really interesting desert rock sound that they produced.
That makes sense.
Might have been me, Resli. Were you at the Dell Music Center? I was. I wasn't at the Dell. I went to. I saw them at Forest Hills, like most recently. Yeah, no, that King Gizzard are great. I've also seen King Crimson. I've seen Metallica once. Saw Yes twice. I saw Weezer once. That was an interesting gig. They played like the entirety of their then most recent album, like Everything Will Be Alright in the End, and that was back at the time where I thought Weezer would be a legit band again and not just a fucking meme. But
I don't remember the last time I thought of Weezer is not a meme. I'm sorry.
Hey, that is perfectly respectable. They haven't really done much to earn anybody's confidence.
Tragic, really.
Yeah. Let's see. So I guess we can take this time to talk about your karaoke streams. So, I mentioned before introducing you do quite a few karaoke streams. I remember when I was looking into your channel and stuff to prep for this stream. You've been you've uploaded a lot of VODs. What is, I guess, that experience like? Are you often like just taking requests from your chat, or are you consciously putting together various different like set lists, per stream?
Well, I'm not great at planning ahead of time. So Radio Kip broadcasts once a week. It's Friday nights usually. So I would say it's about a third of the time I think of a theme and I pick songs within the theme as I think of them. A third of the time is just, open request, chat asks me to sing something, I'll do my best to sing it. And like a third of the time, then it's just whatever comes to mind next. And I just sing what I feel like singing.
You have your own like set of Kip standards that you fall back on?
Kip standards? I do have, it kind of depends on what I'm like into. Like lately, I've been listening. I think I told you already that I've been listening to a lot of Billie Eilish. So
Oh yeah,
been a lot
yeah.
of her recent album songs have been cropping up, or if I went through a phase where I watched a certain show and I really liked the theme, then I would sing that probably every week until I got tired of it.
That's
It's
fair. That's fair.
pretty
Billie
broad.
Eilish is Billie Eilish is an interesting artist to me. I haven't really taken a look at a lot of her music, but she definitely seems like different as a pop star compared to anybody
hmm
else that I think
hmm
I've seen in the past.
For sure. She has a very well. First off, her voice by itself, like in a vacuum, is just a really nice, pleasant, beautiful voice.
Oh yeah.
But on top of that, she's not afraid to do really weird or even scary sounds in her music. And she
Mm,
has several songs that are actually like two songs kind of glued together in the middle, and the beginning and the end will be like wildly different genres.
mm.
So,
See, I love when artists do stuff like that. Like
hmm
Kendrick Lamar too. Like all of his music, I
oh yeah, yeah,
love.
yeah,
Like when it goes through multiple different phases and
yeah, 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 yeah,
feels
yeah.
and beats and flows. It's great.
Yeah, it's
uh,
fun, it keeps it fresh.
mm-hmm. I was gonna. So,
Never.
when you do your karaoke's, like,
Oh yeah.
do you still like manage your nerves? Is that something you've gotten used to, or do you still have to sort of like do any rituals before stream?
Mm, no, I've been doing this for like what year is it now? 2024. Like 3 years now. I
Oh
think
wow.
I've got the nerves down to basically none. I mean, I still freak out a little bit if I have to sing in front of like people,
Yeah,
but
if there's a lot of people in your chat and stuff,
yeah,
yeah.
if there's like a whole bunch of people, I get psyched out. If
If
it's
some
someone looking at my face in person, then yeah, I'll freak out a little bit. But
Iron
other
Mouse
than
has
that,
just
no.
rated you, Kip. What do you do?
Probably die on the spot if I'm on it.
uh, yeah, no, that's definitely understandable. I've been doing these music talk streams. I want to say,
hmm
I guess technically since April, but like I feel like even I haven't really hit my stride as like using this as a sort of VTuber talk show until like sometime late in the summer, and now
Mm.
I feel like I've gotten a lot better, a lot more natural, like talking with people, talking to chat. It's
hmm
it's crazy just how like leaving your sort of abandoning your shame to the wind helps with that. Not
Oh yeah, no, no,
the
for sure.
way I say that makes it sound very very naughty, very embarrassing. But I assure you, like it's I don't know. I feel like some of my best, most insightful stream commentary comes when I'm just sort of riffing nowadays.
I think that's legit because I always say you're a VTuber. There's nothing left you should be ashamed of. So just have at it, go nuts.
Yeah, that's
What's the
true.
best kind
That's
of
true.
content? You just no longer fear the cringe, embrace the cringe.
hmm Sing that Fortnite meme song.
Oh God, yeah.
Has your chat ever punished you with that sort of stuff? Having you sing like
Yes,
Minecraft
yes.
parodies?
Minecraft, no, but Fortnite, yes. I have sung the Chessboard song a couple times, yes.
Excellent. What is your favorite type of song to sing? Like, do you have?
That's a tough one. Generally, my music taste is pretty broad, or it's just very. I like a little bit of everything, so it's kind of hard
Right.
for me to pin down just one genre, one type
I
of
mean,
music,
not
really.
necessarily talking about genre, but
Mhm.
like, just is
Yeah,
there any sort of
types of
feel
song.
you?
I like to, if I can, like really use my chest voice.
Mm.
It's not, um, it's not something that was represented a lot in the Vocaloid songs I used to sing when I was younger because
Oh
it's all
yeah,
very, high pitched,
and all
sopranos.
that.
Oh yeah, exactly like that. Yeah. So when I get a chance to kind of belt a little bit, then that's fun for me.
Right on, right on. I dig that. I feel, I guess, kind of the same. These days, now that I've been sort of out of practice as a singer for a while, I tend to just prefer like singing, in my natural register. If I have to go into a head voice to hit like the higher notes, that's all well and good. But like, I think about how I used to. I think about how I used to like fucking shriek along to Led Zeppelin when I was like 13, and nowadays I'm just like, no way am I gonna be able to pull that off now. Like, admittedly,
very different.
Admittedly, part of that is my own fault because I smoke a lot of catnip on the side, but but I am also legitimately out of practice, so it's not ideal for me to dip into the higher range these days.
No, yeah, for sure. You gotta maintain those vocal cords too.
Oh my gosh. Honestly, I think my worries these days are more in maintaining my my sense of hearing. If anything, I need to be more conscious of bringing earplugs to concerts. Because recently, I feel like I've been hearing like some sort of tinnitus going on in my in my ears. Yeah.
Once you get the ringing, it never stops, man. You gotta prevent.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's tinnitus per se. It's just like it's persisting like high-pitched tone that's like alternating between these two different pitches. That's probably tinnitus. What am I saying?
That's tinnitus, buddy. Medically, that's what it is. You better be careful.
Goddamn ear hairs not growing back. Like what?
So delicate. And for what?
Why did God decide that was the one hair that doesn't grow back?
For real. The one you need the most, the one that is a key part of your senses. Whatever. Don't go back. You only get one shot. Once they're gone, they're gone.
Yeah. It is what it is, though. I guess we can, I know you said that you don't really, have a favorite genre, but I guess, what are some of your favorites? Like, I guess, genres, bands, artists, etc.?
Gosh. Okay, so most of the artists that I'm gonna list off I enjoy precisely because they're so versatile and can do basically like any genre. They've produced every genre, I think, to some extent. Whether they do it well or not is not for me to judge. But so let's see. I like Yorushika, which is I think technically J-pop, J-rock, mostly J-pop.
I think one of my friends who's been on the stream before, Yoroshu, I think you recommended them to me once.
Yeah, I think it's very likable music and the lyrics are intriguing. They have a pretty good ability to put a sense of nostalgia into music that like it's not necessarily an experience I've ever had, but I still feel nostalgic about it, you know?
Yeah, it's takes a really good musician to, make you feel nostalgic for something you've never experienced.
Let's see, I also like, for my favorite Vocaloid producer is Mikito, and that is because he's written like big band, he's written like rock, he's written pop. He's just all over the map. Like every song that he puts out is totally different from the last, and I enjoy that. It's fun to like guys,
Yeah.
And then I will say I don't like all of their works, but another Vocaloid producer of mine is Wotaku, who writes everything from rap to... Now, you'll excuse me, please. I'm not super familiar with like the different subgenres of metal, but there is some metal in there. I don't know what kind.
It's fine. It's fine.
Vocaloid metal. Vocaloid metal, and as well
how does Vocaloid metal work? Like, do they have a? Do they have like a? Do they have an extension for screamo or anything like that?
Kind of do. Let me see if I can't find you something to check out. Like,
yeah. Send it to me over Discord or whatever.
Yeah, there's like There's a couple of there's not nearly as many as the the general pop whatever producers, but there are a handful that are known specifically for like metal
Yeah, yeah.
genre. So it's like, yeah, I'll get to that.
Usually this is like whenever I usually think about like Vocaloid, I kind of think about Ike Evelins of Niji Sanji. He's a huge fan of Vocaloid
Yes.
and his whole death growl and ability and whatnot. I wonder how much of that was inspired by Vocaloid.
There's definitely some. It's rare, but it's out there. That's the thing about Vocaloid. There's something for everyone. You just gotta find your specific.
Yeah. So like are you generally, I guess, more enthusiastic about J-pop, that sort of stuff, or more specifically like Vocaloid music?
Just generally, it's hard for me to define because if a song gets its hooks into my brain, then it's over for me, and I have no real way of predicting what's gonna be the next earworm that catches my attention. So yeah, there's like some I would say mostly Vocaloid stuff because a lot of J-pop producers and stuff that I do follow had their roots in Vocaloid, like Yonezu Kenshi is formerly Vocaloid, and Yorushika was formerly Vocaloid, USOB, all those people.
That's something that I really find fascinating about like Vocaloid producer culture, is that you were able to hone your abilities, like sort of kind of practicing almost with a vocalist, with a vocal synthesizer, until you got to the point where you're a professional, able to work your way around a DAW and create like a
yeah, and then you go pro
like an industry quality pop single,
Exactly. It's a really interesting like petri dish for people to develop, and some of them move on to mainstream music, and some of them just stay and they're the veterans of the Vocaloid industry forever, which is also, I think, really neat.
Yeah,
some of these people have been making music for 10 plus years in this niche little online community, and I think that's great.
For sure. Yeah, it's wild now, especially like knowing that they're influential producers too in the Vtuber music scene. It's especially like with fucking, when you look at like Niji Sanji or Hololive, like corpo Vtubers especially are working with these guys.
Yeah, like Camellia, I think, I forget who they worked with.
Oh yeah,
might have been Niji, I don't know. I don't really keep up with my corporate Vtubers too.
Yeah,
but more
nor
like,
do I. Nor do I so much these days. It's fine.
Yeah, it was a bigger thing, like when VTubing was still in its infancy, and
yeah. Honestly, I far prefer to not strictly indies. I mean, I'm sure there's still like corpos that I like to tune into every nowadays, but I'm trending more towards like supporting indie VTubers, indie creators, and all that stuff. The agencies already have more than enough support as is.
Oh, for sure. They've got slightly too many VTubers now for me to keep up with.
Oh, yeah.
It's just nice to be able to feel like you connected with a smaller creator. Not necessarily like a tiny creator, but just if you feel it's a little more organic of an experience. It's a more, I mean, they're just a person like you or I.
Definitely. Yeah. And I mean, the fact that, whatchamacallit, we're, we sort of have a, parasociality obviously is unavoidable in, content creation spaces, but we have a bit more of a buffer between us and the audience with these avatars, so it's...
Yeah.
It's not... Like, obviously, like I said, parasociality still happens, but it's not like... I feel like there's a lot more... It feels like there's a lot more guardrails being a VTuber content creator.
I do feel like that, yeah, because there's less direct of a line between, hey, this is my face, this is who I am, and, your audience, which is a good thing sometimes, and sometimes a bad thing, but for sure it helps with the, I am in love with this creator because I know what she looks like, and I know what she sounds like, and she tells me about her life, so obviously we have a connection, a real connection, and a real relationship.
Yeah.
So that's a nice thing about VTubing for sure.
Yeah, the fact that we've endeared ourselves, or rather, Japanese animation has endeared itself to the West for however many decades, means that an anime face is maybe not inherently friendly, but like a lot less foreign than it would have been otherwise.
Yeah.
We're just comfy cartoon characters that people can pretend they're tuning in to watch their weekly anime.
It is a lot like that feeling, yeah.
So let's see. Have you ever tried writing or recording music?
Recording music, like originals?
Yeah, like have you tried making your own sort of ori songs? Like, is that a thing you'd like to do?
It is something I'd like to do. Unfortunately, well, I haven't really sat down and really put my mind to it. I don't think I don't think top lining is something I'm especially good at. Let alone the whole rest of the composition.
Yeah.
I worked with Shino on one of his original songs.
Oh, yeah.
But that was just me strictly providing vocals. I had nothing to do with writing it. I had nothing to do with, the direction of it. I was just gave me the lyrics, sat me down, and was like, okay, go sing. And I'm like, okay.
Hey, I mean, that's something. I mean, my whole issue is just learning, a bunch of skills from scratch. Like I keep belly aching on these streams about, having this wanting to eventually sit down and, learn DAWs, but DAWs being so intimidating and stuff, but
it's a lot of moving pieces, yeah.
yeah, for sure.
On top of that, having the music theory, you have the music theory, but then you have to apply and all that stuff.
Yeah, that's the thing, like being able to apply it into a song form that sounds good and write lyrics for it that aren't that don't feel cringe reading them out loud.
Yeah, it's a whole suite of skills that maybe I have not practiced very much yet.
Right, yeah, I've written maybe like 1-2 decent songs in my life, or honestly, I'm far better like an idea contributor than I am like a full songwriter. Like
that's pretty good.
I can demo like riffs and decent ideas, and I'm in a band right now where I've written a few different like little garage band demos that I bring to them, and they're like, hey, that's cool, we'll incorporate this riff into this verse, or like take this demo and fashion it into something that's kind of different but also carries the spirit of it. It's like, I think that's where I best shine, is in collaborating with other people to write something. Not that I don't have any ideas of my own, but it's just a lot easier to be a collaborator.
For sure, and I think that's the best kind of songwriting, when it kind of grows organically as you all work together on it, rather than it just being 100% the product of one person's brain.
Absolutely. Would you ever consider like being in a band yourself? I'm into currently, myself, just like in the New York City area. We play around a bit. We're active. We try to gig every month or so, but it's not necessarily the I don't know. It doesn't really pay. It's more something I do for my own fun.
Yeah, for your own enrichment, basically.
Yeah.
I would love to be in like a band or a musical circle. I've kind of got a thing going where I do vocals for 2 of my friends are music producers.
Oh, right on.
Earlier, actually, RC. So he and writes a little bit, and the other one's Nado, who writes and sings, and so. But anyway, if they want female vocals on anything, I usually, volunteer myself.
Nice.
Outside of the internet, my vocals basically just live in karaoke bars and at-home karaoke and nowhere else. So I don't
It's
know. It sounds
respectable.
like it would be fun. It sounds like it would be fun.
Honestly, I'd love to go out to more karaoke nights. Like, I feel like that's something I'd love to. What was it? The other night, I went to go see this one local grunge band showcase that was going on where I live, and at the end of the night, they have this sort of jam session, and I was able to get up there and play a song on drums. But then they were doing like the song by the Grateful Dead, "Fire on the Mountain." I don't know how familiar you are with the Dead, but both of my parents were Deadheads back in the 80s and 90s, so I grew up, around a lot of tie-dye, a lot of psychedelic rock, and so when that song came up, I was like, oh, that's my jam. Let me come up here, let me sing these lyrics, and that was an experience. I need to do more stuff like that.
That sounds fun. Like open mics and stuff.
Yeah. Like,
It's just
what was
nice
it?
to get up and create.
There was this one. I really do enjoy like live karaoke, I guess, like playing to a live backing band. I remember when I studied abroad in Vienna, Austria, like a number of years back, and there was this one bar in the city somewhere that like did rock and roll karaoke, and they had a hired like rock band behind you, like doing the actual instrumentation. Like, obviously that's probably expensive as hell to regularly maintain that, but
100%.
but if there's something like that nearby, I want to do it. I want to have that opportunity. Anyways, you mind if I step away to get some water? Maybe use the bathroom real quick?
Oh yeah, go for it, dude.
Alrighty. Let me bring up my water real quick. Place myself with a tall glass of water, and I will be right back.
Okay. Can't believe he left me here alone with you guys, chat. What's up? What kind of games do you guys like to play? It's been a really long time since I was on a YouTube stream. You got any games on your phone? Hey. This is my stream now. Just kidding. This is the kind of thing I would joke about with my own friends if I were guesting on their streams, but I think it is a little out of place with someone else's chat. But yeah, everyone having a good weekend. Have you guys had a chance to watch Rezzy's new video essay yet? I believe it's about glam rock. I haven't had time to sit down and really dig in, but it seems promising. I think it's neat that he does all this long-form video content, because I do not have the attention span to sit there and record and then edit all that jazz together, I think it's pretty pog. Yeah, I take it that most of you are here because you are also fans of metal. We've got, let's see. Ooh. Oh, welcome back.
Okay, I am back.
Welcome.
Alright, let's see here. We already talked a bit about your collabs, but what's a dream collab that you have in the VTuber space? Like, is there any big name VTuber you really want to work with?
gosh. Okay, this is a tough one for me because before I became a VTuber, I did not watch VTubers. I did not watch VTubers. I mean, I liked the occasional clips of, oh, funny anime dog quarrel. It was Korone who would show
That's
up on
fair,
the
yeah.
But I don't have, like, anyone I would consider, I think. No, yeah, pretty much all the music people who I had dreams of collaborating with, I've done so already, so I'm
Nice.
No plans at this time, yeah. That's kind of a boring answer, I know.
Hey, that's fine. It's good to see that you've set, achievable goals for yourself like that.
Yeah, I think that's the key. Is you gotta set yourself something you can do in a reasonable amount of time, so you don't get too discouraged.
Yeah. And speaking of like making connections though, or like getting to collab with people, there's been a lot of hassle recently over the new changes to Twitter and people moving over to Blue Sky. You recently made a Blue Sky account yourself, I think either today or sometime recently. How I guess a question I'm wondering about at this time is like, how are you dealing, I guess, with the with the adaptation to a new platform? Are you having trouble making the same sort of musical or do you think, if you haven't had that much time on the site, do you feel like it's going to be a challenge to reconnect with musician friends on that site the same way as on Twitter, or?
Okay, so I actually made my Blue Sky account during the last Great Exodus that
Nice.
fell through. I was never super active on it until this most recent one where they announced, hey, we're gonna train our AI with your posts. And so
Yeah.
Okay, I guess we'll give this thing a serious shot because a lot of the artists I like, a lot of the streamers I like have promised to move their posting permanently over to Blue Sky. I'm like, okay, I guess I better actually like commit this time. So for the most part, I don't think I've really had trouble finding anyone. I mean, there's a couple people who haven't made the jump, and I'm totally happy to be on Twitter for them. But with people have been very kind and made lists. Actually, I was just looking at your list that you were accumulating of music VTubers.
Yeah.
Someone had made one about, oh, here's musical people like, mixers and arrangers and
Right, yeah.
were previously kind of all loosely in a group. Here's a list of those guys. So I clicked that, and a lot of them, I guess, vaguely remember me as one of their mutuals and followed back. So I'm like, okay, this isn't so bad.
Yeah, no, it's
term, I guess.
It's really interesting. I feel like I'm making a lot more, or rather it feels like I'm more specifically targeted more towards VTubers on this platform right now than I've been in a long time on Twitter. Like, I'm getting a lot of attention from the VTubers that are migrating over.
Yeah, that's also true, because I heard it described best by someone I was reading on. It was like, this feels like back in the early days of VTubing when we were all, like, before everyone started quitting, like back in 2020 or 2020.
Yeah.
Everything feels fresh. Everyone feels excited to be there. Everyone's like, interacting without fear of, being called a clout chaser or.
Yeah. It just.
Generally.
It's really. This move recently, this whole exodus, has made me reflect a lot on how much Twitter has made people mean. Like, just the environment there is so toxic, so vitriolic, aggressive all the time that it's, when you take the step out and it's like leaving a fucking sauna and stepping into a freezer.
Yeah, it does seem I don't know if it's because of better moderation or because everyone's trying so hard to be, start fresh.
Honestly,
That,
right now it's probably less people.
yeah,
Like
that's probably it.
just thinking practically, like I think what we have, Blue Sky last I checked had like 12 million people on there. I think X still has like about like over 600 million, or at least it did like the last time anybody bothered checking in on them.
Yeah, although who knows how many of those are bots, and if we're counting individual bot accounts,
Oh
who knows
yeah,
how many of those
that's
there
true.
are, so hard to say.
That's the other thing. Like there's real people on Blue Sky right
Yeah,
now.
that's kind of nice, isn't it?
It feels like
Talking to human beings.
it feels like everything on that app is real. It's something that I would want on my timeline.
Yeah, yeah. It's like you don't feel like you're doom scrolling nearly as much when you're going through Blue Sky feeds.
Yeah, and I'm really hoping that as more people get on the site and code more feeds and sorry, can I just complain? I think that's
No, go for it.
That's really fucking ludicrous that the way to build lists and or feeds rather is just to have express coding knowledge and work on an external. At least that's how you form it in the literature that I've been finding. It's just.
Oh, I had no idea.
Yeah, I mean, making a list in like a starter pack, that's an entirely different ballgame. That's something that's like ready made. I think feeds are a whole other different involved.
Oh man, okay. Well, noted. I had no idea how complicated it is. Like list-wise, I've just been, following whatever people hand me, basically.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Hey, Flutter. Bye, Flutter.
Like that.
Yeah, no, I've been having a fun time on Blue Sky so far. It feels like the people are legitimately more interested in what I have to say there. Well, I don't know if it's so much that as much as it is that fucking algorithms not suppressing me anymore. So
Could be that too. Hard to say.
yeah.
But
Yeah, I'm looking forward to like really something that really annoys me right now about Blue Sky. It doesn't have as much a capacity for video files. Like, I remember,
was just thinking about that.
Yeah, I remember I was trying the other day to upload a teaser for my newest video onto Blue Sky, and it took me like saving it on the lowest possible quality for.
Yeah,
for
it's like what, 50 megabytes? That's so tiny.
yeah,
And a
yeah.
minute in length. It's ridiculous. We got a little spoiled by even Twitter's shitty compressed videos,
Yeah, for real. I just hope, as Blue Sky grows as a platform, we'll have more opportunities on there to like grow as musicians, grow as music VTubers, be able to find our people and all that stuff. I'm hoping this list that I made, I hope it takes off a bit more. Right now, it seems like attention's a bit muted on that. I don't know. I'll probably bump that. I'll probably go digging around on Blue Sky for a few more music VTubers, including you,
for sure.
obviously.
Oh, what? Yeah.
I don't know. It's a very wild time, and I don't necessarily feel optimistic about social media again as much as I do just. It feels like I can sort of breathe easy on Blue Sky.
No, I get that, yeah. And it's been kind of nice because, to populate a whole new platform, I've been digging back in the archives and bringing out my teasers of things I posted last year before. And it's kind of just like a nice little trip. Like, oh yeah, this is what my channel is all about. This is what I want to present to people. It's been nice just starting over.
Yeah, absolutely. Could not agree more. Let's see. Uh-oh. I think I've run out of questions already. Shit.
Oh, no. It's okay. We made it through like an hour and 15 minutes.
Oh, hey, 21st Century Guy. How's it going, man? How are you doing?
Yeah, any project you're currently working on? I know you just put out your really juicy video essay. I haven't had time to sit down and actually watch it yet, but I saw.
It's all good. I am currently in addition, hopefully in the future I'll be working on part 2 of that. I'm intending on making that a whole 3-part series.
I see 103 right here. Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully it doesn't kill me to get to the end of it. But if otherwise, I've got a Patreon that I'm doing like exclusive content on. I'm making a documentary on like Gene Simmons of Kiss and his sort of side career as a producer in the 1980s of like glam metal albums. It's going great. Pretty happy at the moment. That's great to hear, 21st Century Guy. And then also in addition to that, I was saying a bit at the start, I'm going to be doing a review of those 2 King Gizzard concerts I went to see at Forest Hills Stadium, so that's going to be fun. I actually went around at the concert in a Resi cosplay, and I asked I did these sort of man-on-the-street interviews with a few different Giz fans. It's going to be real fun getting to, edit that down and do what I'm planning with that.
That's pretty cool. You got a lot of big projects coming then. That's kind of exciting. I think the concert review thing is super, super neat. That's a unique idea.
Thank you. Little over an hour into the new video. Interesting stuff so far. Thank you so much, 21st Century Guy. And, everybody else, too, who's, expressed interest or is already watching it. It just... The support you guys are giving to me means the world. And... I'm not about to, whine about, my past videos not getting as big a reception. But at the same time, I do hope that, this video has the sort of long tail effect of getting people to check out the rest of my channel too,
Oh, that's valid. I know it's like kind of a downer, but numbers are a reality of existing in an online space and producing things for, public consumption.
Yeah.
I do get a little bummed out when I see, oh, damn, this cover didn't do as well as the last one. I don't know why. You get a little in your head about it sometimes.
Yeah, for sure. I am... as much as I try to pretend that, I like going at my own pace and, it's not so much pretending. I do like to go at my own pace, but it does still affect me, like, when I see that, a video that I've poured a whole bunch of effort into is only getting, like, a few trickles of views.
Yeah, for sure. It's such a downer. Like, you put your heart and soul, hours of recording, hours of editing, hours just, researching, polishing, all that stuff, and then it doesn't come...
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't, when it feels like it hasn't been rewarded with what you put into it, like equally to what you put into it, it's hard.
See what we need? We need a fucking video platform like Blue Sky. We need an algorithmless or
we need a YouTube killer.
There's something out there that allows us to, put up our videos and allow them to more, I guess, easily find their audiences,
Yeah, it's tough because the algorithm giveth and the algorithm taketh away.
Very much so, very much so. Very much enjoyed the first Glam episode. Didn't know about Bow Wow until they changed to Bow Wow. Yeah, no, that's a very fascinating story. Bow Wow and Vow Wow and those early Japanese metal bands. Yep, the metal scene in Japan is fucking insane. I very much enjoyed doing whatever research I did into that for my recent deep dive.
It is pretty wild. There's so many like subgenres of like J-rock too. VK is very popular, or was very popular when I was It's a lot. Like to follow the history of it is very interesting.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like there's so much more like Japanese music that I would like to eventually cover on my channel, but it's the big problem with doing all that is the fucking language barrier. Is being able to, you know, look online on the internet for information that you want without having to like go through the Japanese Wikipedia articles and try and footnote chain.
Yeah, there's really no. I mean, in Japanese history, like culture history, it still has an advantage over like a lot of other countries' culture history, just because there's no sources available for like, just to throw out some random. I couldn't find anything on like like besides Thai language stuff on history. I couldn't find anything besides original Viet language stuff. It's hard. Yeah. Like, researching in a non-English language is tough, at least with Japanese, it's kind of still well documented besides that.
Like, there's one particular thing that I've wanted to do for a while now. I've wanted to make, like, some sort of a video on city pop. Like, in particular, I'm thinking, like, you know Maria Takeuchi, obviously, right? She did this one album in the early 80s called Miss M, and half of it was recorded in Los Angeles with, you know, famous session musicians, including like the guys from Toto, and it's partly produced by David Foster, who'd later go on to, you know, produce stuff for, produce hits for Chicago, a bunch of other like adult contemporary sort of hits of the 80s. So there was that side, and then the other side she recorded in Japan with, you know, a bunch of her regular collaborators and I guess studio musicians over there. And it's this really fascinating moment of East meets West that doesn't get talked about nearly enough. Like, I don't think anybody's ever interviewed like any of the members of Toto about it. I don't think anybody's talked with you know, David Foster, at least to my knowledge. I don't even know if like, I would definitely don't know if anybody's asked Maria about it. You know, I don't you know, I don't speak Japanese enough to browse sites like that. But that is something that I'd love to dig into, to explore more, because it's such an interesting moment we find ourselves in now, where we're all like nostalgic over the sort of boom period of Japan in the 80s. Whereas back like 40 years ago, like Americans were fucking livid over Japan for like competing with our industry. Like, you know, their cars were booting our cars off the road. You know, people were legit getting mad and committing hate crimes against people who look Japanese because of it. It's crazy how much, you know, how soon we forgot.
It's been like a whole 180. It's cool to like anime now. It's cool to enjoy like, you know, cosplay and all that stuff.
Yeah. So City Pop is awesome. I got me some CDs. Yeah, City Pop is so good. I love Tatsuro Yamashita, love Maria Takeuchi. I don't know. It's been a while since I've really dived even further into that. It's a very very aesthetic sort of genre.
It has such a nice vibe to it. I guess that's the way I can really describe it. It's hard to describe.
Yeah, I mean, it basically takes like what like what the West was doing in like pop music at the turn of like the 70s and the 80s, and you know, gave it this sort of optimistic sheen to it, I guess. Very, very, very sort of happy music.
Yeah, even the sad songs are kind of like, they got like a bounce to them, you know?
Yeah. Say, I've really, I guess I got, sort of reflecting on that, I guess like part of the reason what got me into, you know, city pop in the first place was of course like Vaporwave and all of those songs. All those artists behind that, like Vaporwave, Future Funk, just that entire underground culture of like Western electronic musicians taking this Japanese music and refurbishing it. It's fascinating to me.
A whole new thing out of it, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you got the Midnight Pretenders. Is that? It's Takako Mamiya, right? That's the one that's the girl does Chinese restaurant. I think that's the album, right? I don't know. Yellow Magic Orchestra. Oh yeah, Yellow Magic Orchestra too. I haven't listened to them as much, but I remember there was this one like particular song of theirs going around on Twitter that was like recorded in '79 and it completely sounded like an '80s dance track. Tomoko Aran. Oh, okay, that was her. Yeah, no, It's such an
projects.
yeah. Oh my god, yeah. So that's my dilemma. It's just like all these different like music topics that I'd love to dig into, but I just don't have the time for it, you know.
Don't have the time, don't have the energy, don't have the resources. I feel you, man.
My dream eventually, you know, I'd love to get like a team of editors for the channel. I'd love to start, you know, trying to be a bit more consistent with my content. You know, the video I put out recently is literally the second one I put out this year.
Yeah, it's hard, dude.
Yeah.
I'm in a similar boat where I would love to put out, like, you know, really consistent, at least, you know, once a month type covers and stuff. But the fact of the matter is, it's just a lot of time and effort.
Yeah.
And so I think it's been like one every 2 to 3 months this year on average. So it's, you know, same problem.
Absolutely.
Flavor.
And then the Weeknd sample to on Dawn FM. Oh yeah, the Weeknd sample. I completely forgot that he kind of just took that song wholesale, didn't he? I mean, it was basically the Midnight Pretenders backing groove, and him doing a bunch of like his own original stuff on top of it. I don't know. It's interesting how the Weeknd sort of plumbed the 80s and, you know, brought that back into our eyes in the West. Sort of like he was the big harbinger of 80s revivalism in the West.
Time is a circle. Everything comes back around.
Yeah. Speaking of Vaporwave, just scored a Death's Dynamic Shroud double vinyl. I don't know if I'm familiar with Death's Dynamic Shroud as much. Let me check those. Yeah, I can't say I don't think I've heard of them, but I'll write that down. Sounds like an interesting group.
Oh, that is interesting.
There's this one Vaporwave song from ages ago. I think it's like Vector Graphics, Distine or something like. I think Distine is the name of the song by Vector Graphics, and it's one of those songs like we were talking about earlier, where it sort of goes through multiple different phases, and you know, in between each little phase, it sort of shifts in between like this white noise, static, very very sort of aesthetic 80s radio core.
Oh, that is kind of cool.
Love that sound. I remember, like, I don't know for sure, but I'm pretty sure it was like one of the tracks that convinced me that Vaporwave was something seriously cool. Because before then, I was just sort of, you know, I saw like, you know, the, you know, Floral Shop album cover with its, you know, Roman marble head bust or whatever, and I was like,
oh, yeah.
This is a meme genre. But I mean, yeah, it is kind of a meme genre, but it does have some legit cool shit going on in it.
Yeah, it's not a basis for existence.
They recently finished a full-length music documentary for film festivals. Oh, brother, I feel your pain there, Jukebox Cowboy. Vaporwave is cool, like some Vaporwave projects, but I'm more of a future funk dude. No, absolutely, I'm right there with you. I think Saint Pepsi was probably my anchor to the whole vaporwave sort of scene, and he was always more like future funk and groovy about it. I don't know. There are people who like considerably chop and distort their vaporwave samples, and that's all cool and good too, but I like it with the groove and things.
Yeah.
Anyways,
editing videos. I've done only very little video editing since I became a VTuber, and it's very painful. Even for like a little 2-minute thing, it's extremely painful. I can't imagine.
No, that's I totally feel you with that. Like I like video editing, but to start, it kind of feels like pulling teeth. You know, like to start on a project, like.
I don't know any of the shortcuts and stuff yet.
I would love eventually, like, if I had a team of editors to have them sit down with some of these music talk stream VODs and splice them out. Because God knows, I'm sure there's been some engaging, funny, shit that's been happening on this. And, I've had a fun time doing it, but I guess we'll never know unless we watch the VODs.
Yeah, combing through your own VODs is like torture. Like,
yeah.
I don't want to hear myself talk for like 2 hours, Let alone listen to it over and over to cut out the good parts, man.
Yeah. Video editing's alright. Once I find my groove, I'm locked in. See, I can kind of, get behind that too, When I get into a flow state of things and I'm actually working on it, I can get some progress done pretty quickly, but I don't know. It's all about trying to improve my workflow and get more efficient in the future.
I wish that was me. I hope to someday hit that Zen state while editing, but it hasn't happened yet. I hate holding my breath.
Yeah. Anyways, though, Kip, is there anything that you wanted to talk about? Wanted to, I guess, ask?
I mean, things that I'm working on wise, it's just the usual, like, 3 or 4 different cover projects happening at the same time, and who knows when any of them will get done. They're all in, like,
oh, nice.
Not a whole lot going on with me, man.
Anything that you're at liberty to reveal, or would you prefer to keep it a secret?
I mean, sure, yeah, I can play. If you want to hear some stuff, I guess I have
It's all good. It's all good.
Yeah, I've got a jazz arrangement of a video game song.
Oh.
I think we're waiting on video to come back for that. Ironically, with the topic of discussion.
That's fun though. I like a good jazz vocal.
It's nice reimagining things as different genres from what they originally were written for.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Other than actually giving you a file to play, I'm afraid I don't have anything super presentable right now.
That's fine. Where can people find you?
Yeah, people can find me on... Well, I'm consistent across most of my platforms except for Twitter. So I'm Kip Cintamani on YouTube, on Twitch, and on Blue Sky. And if you're still on Twitter, I have _barcintamani, and I should really change that. But yeah. It's such a hassle to change all of the URLs everywhere,
Yeah. Absolutely. But yeah, thank you so much for joining me today. It was lovely talking with you.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Some very cool topics today.
Thank you.
Definitely some genres I gotta check out more of myself.
Oh, it's I could send you down a fucking crater-sized rabbit hole. I swear to God, but well, I will leave things off here so as to not explode your head.
Well, sometimes you need a good head explodiness.
Very true. Yeah. But thank you to anybody who's coming into chat or viewed or joined us today, hung around with us. It's always fun getting to do these VTuber chats with other music loving VTubers. So be sure to keep a lookout for future episodes like this in the future. I'm gonna try to line up another guest for next week and the week after. Try to get a lot more consistent and better with that, so that we don't have we don't have gaps dropping in the schedule every now and then. But yeah, no, stay tuned for more news on that. More news on my content. Like I said, I'm working on my King Gizzard concert review video right now, so that will be out hopefully before November. Fingers crossed. I'm gonna try like hell to get that done. But yeah, that's all for today. Thank you all so much for tuning in once more, and I will see y'all next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.